Over 13 billion years after it all began, a group of scientists in Switzerland are about to go back to the beginning of time. Using the largest and most complex scientific experiment ever built, the Large Hadron Collider, or LHC, scientists are hoping to accelerate particles at almost the speed of light to recreate the conditions that existed less than a second before the explosion of the Big Bang. The main goal of particle physics is to understand the universe in which we live. And for this reason, scientists from all over the world are working in collaboration to understand the mysteries of the universe at the world's largest particle physics research laboratory, the European Organization for Nuclear Research Power, CERN.
The LHC is a fantastic microscope that's going to look deep inside the structure of matter, tell us how it works, and give us some insights into the way the universe evolved to what it is today.
The LHC is located 100 meters underground and is the world's biggest accelerator. It has over 34 kilometers of tunnels and caverns the size of cathedrals, which will allow scientists to travel back in time to explore the cosmic history and perhaps to understand the beginning of time itself. After 25 years of working on this experiment, on the 10th of September 2008, the Large Hadron Collider was finally switched on. With such a big experiment comes great concern, whether it is from religious activists, environmental groups, or the general public. People around the world are speculating if the LHC experiment is worth the time and the money that it has cost.
I think it's very cynical to invest huge sums of money, huge amounts of money. We're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars in a project like this one, knowing that at the same time, and more than ever, people die around the world, starving, people who do not have access to clean water. So I think it's very cynical. And I'm not sure it's worth. And I'm not sure it's going to be these people who will benefit from the results, hypothetical results of the project.
International religious groups around the world have also expressed their opinions about the money that has been invested on the LHC experiment.
$6 billion or so that CERN have already spent on the project in trying to discover the origins of the Big Bang. I, as a Christian, happen to believe that that $6 billion could have been better spent helping the poor and needy in different countries. I don't believe that God is that impressed with that. Man gets very caught up with the amount of money that is spent and gets impressed by the more money, the bigger the project must be and the more important it is. But for God, it's still just a small snapshot. When God wants to be impressed, he gets impressed by man giving money like that and sums of money like that away to the poor and to the needy.
I know there are many people who consider that the $6 billion that has been spent at CERN could have been better used elsewhere. That's often an argument used, isn't it? But I just think that it's not a question of either or. Do we give money to the poor or don't we? The advancements that's made through science has indeed helped billions of people. So not one thing or the other, but a bit of both. Yes, we do need to spend money on the poor, without a shadow of doubt, but we also need to carry on with our scientific research.
Back at CERN, while scientists are still trying to discover the beginning of time, the speculation about the Large Hadron Collider's budget have had a different perspective.
CERN and the physicists who work here are doing something unique, something that nobody else is doing. We're at the forefront of trying to understand the way the universe works. So for me, that is justification enough for spending money on what we do. I think that in the past, whenever humankind has understood something more about the way the universe works, it's been useful for something. For example, Einstein's theories of relativity are used in the GPS system that people use to navigate their cars. Quantum mechanics is the basis for the electronics industry. When these fundamental breakthroughs in understanding were achieved, nobody thought, what sort of applications they would have.
There has to be a balance between what goes into research and what goes into Medicare and aid and many other areas. There has to be a balance inside a society, and that is up to the politicians to decide this fairly. I'm not a politician, so I can not say more about that. But we should not forget that CERN is not a black hole, if you like, a financial black hole. I mean, CERN is a research facility that consumes a lot of money, but unlike real black holes, the money that goes into CERN does not disappear without a trace. It's a huge investment, and this money goes more or less immediately back to society.
Not knowing what the results from this experiment could lead to, people can only speculate on what the effects of trying to recreate the Big Bang could be. And within these speculations, the electricity that the LHC consumes has become one of the most popular topics in this debate.
Well, as you know, Switzerland and Europe and the rest of the world will face in the next years an energy crisis. So I wonder if this project is not the wrong project at the wrong moment, because the energy it needs to work is absolutely huge, and I'm not sure we can afford this right now.
In fact, the LHC itself does not use so much electricity. It's actually all the other facilities that we have here and the other accelerators that we have that actually probably use up more electricity. Don't remember that this is a campus with perhaps 10,000 people working on it, perhaps not all at the same time, but anyway, it's like a town, right? So, and obviously there's lots of facilities here, lights in offices, as well as more technical things that use up electricity.
The convention that established CERN in 1954 laid down the main missions for the organisation, stating that CERN would not develop work for military requirements. However, the results of its experimental and theoretical work will be published or made generally available for the scientific community or any other interested party.
Knowing human nature a little bit, I wonder if the military industry is involved or not in the project in any way. And I do believe that the military industry is involved in this project, but not officially, unofficially.
All the things that the CERN's experiment will be able to find, it's a really good thing that all those things will be available worldwide for everyone, and especially for countries that cannot not allow themselves to invest any money in this. So that's a really good thing. But the other thing is, I think it might be dangerous, because the CERN is saying that they're not doing this for military purposes, but the fact that they're putting all this available for everyone is sort of a way to say, okay, we're not responsible for this anymore.
Of course, you can misuse knowledge. You can do really, really bad things with nuclear physics. We have seen that. But you can do good things also. CERN cannot control where the results of its science go or end up. If some bad person or military or whatever steals some of this knowledge and uses it in a bad way, this is unfortunate, and we cannot do much about it. And at CERN, we don't develop anything that is related to weapons industry, and definitely not anything about nuclear weapons. But we do use the same knowledge to apply in medical physics. We treat cancer patients with exactly the same thing as we use in the accelerator. It is a small particle physics or particle accelerator that is used for Medicare, treatment of cancer.
Nothing that we do here could be used for military purposes. Every scientific discovery that we make, all the new technologies that we develop, are made freely available to everybody. There's no secrets here. Everything is published in the open scientific literature, and if anybody has any question about what we do, we're very happy to answer the question. I remind people also that we're in Switzerland. Switzerland is a neutral country, so there's no prospect, I think, of any military application being made of what we're doing here. Switzerland would not stand for it. I would also remind people that we have working here people from the opposite sides of almost every conflict that you can imagine. So we have Russians working with Americans, Chinese working with Taiwanese, Indians working with Pakistanis, Palestinians working with Israelis. I don't think there's any way in which what we're doing here could be used for military purposes.
In October 2008, due to a faulty electrical connection, the Large Hadron Collider had to be switched off. As a result of this malfunction, CERN and its 20 member states will have to spend another £14 million to cover the repairs of the damaged part. After all the speculation that has surrounded this experiment, the eyes of the world are upon CERN, where scientists are still trying to understand the origins of the universe to bring us closer to new and better technologies that will exceed the ones we have now. Nothing is certain at this stage, but one thing that we can be sure of is that there will be more speculation to come.
The LHC is a fantastic microscope that's going to look deep inside the structure of matter, tell us how it works, and give us some insights into the way the universe evolved to what it is today.
Over 13 billion years after it all began, a group of scientists in Switzerland are about to go back to the beginning of time. Using the largest and most complex scientific experiment ever built, the Large Hadron Collider, or LHC, scientists are hoping to accelerate particles at almost the speed of light, to recreate the conditions that existed less than as reason. Scientists from all over the world are working in collaboration to understand the mysteries of the universe at the world's largest particle physics research laboratory, the European Organization for Nuclear Research Power, CERN, second before the explosion of the Big Bang. The main goal of particle physics is to understand the universe in which we live.